PBS.
Good evening, I'm Silver Barker and welcome to Newswatch. More details on tonight on the Meigs County woman recovering in the hospital after allegedly being attacked over the weekend. Sheriff Scott Fitch identified the victim as Jessica Marshall. He says Marshall was found early Sunday morning with severe head injuries. Marshall was transported to the West Virginia University Medical Center in Morgantown. Fitch says she remains in serious condition. Meanwhile, deputies continue to search for Christopher Cowdery. Cowdery is wanted on charges of attempted murder, second-degree felonious assault, and strangulation. If you've seen the man on your screen or have any information on Cowdery, you are urged to call 911. A West Virginia State Police officer charged with domestic violence is losing his job. West Virginia State Police say they sent notice to Tuesday of Corporal Joseph Comer's termination, less than a week after his arrest in Ritchie County for violating bond. Yesterday in court, Comer was denied bond. Comer has been on administrative leave since February for domestic battery and strangulation charges. Comer's firing comes as multiple investigations are underway at the state police over allegations of theft and sexual assault. The investigations stem from an anonymous letter sent to West Virginia Governor Jim Justice detailing major concerns at the department. In April, Comer said he allegedly wrote the letter. A former Ironton police officer is sentenced on drug charges. Bradley Spoljaric, was sentenced to 12 months in a state penal institution for aggravated possession of drugs. He was arrested last year and faced domestic violence, aggravated possession of drugs, and tampering with evidence. It's Appalachian Save a Life Day, and care providers across the Appalachian region are working together to prevent overdose deaths. Save a Life Day began in West Virginia's 55 counties, but this year the Appalachian Regional Commission has partnered with providers across the region. At these events, sites will be set up throughout the region to distribute naloxone and to educate people about substance use disorder and overdose crisis in the region. The theme for 2023 is partnering with people with lived experience, and organizers are invited to explore ways to build with neighbors who are intimately close to the pains, solutions, and hopes surrounding the overdose crisis. Ohio continues to make the effort to modernize sharing election data nationally. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose announces today that he is signing election integrity agreements with multiple states. These states include Florida, Virginia, and West Virginia. Each state will use state-specific data sharing and security protocols. State officials believe this will allow for the secure exchange of voter information. The goal in this agreement is to keep elections accurate and accountable. The Ohio Attorney General rejects the language for a proposed amendment to change the state's redistricting process. Attorney General Dave Yost says the language is not fair or truthful. In a letter, he says the current language of the amendment would mislead a potential signer of the effect of the proposal. This is the second version of the redistricting petition. The summary was originally submitted 1 month ago, but was rejected and submitted again last week.
Good evening, everybody, and I hope you had the opportunity to take advantage of the beautiful weather we've had today. In Athens, we see a temperature of 75 degrees right now under some partly cloudy skies. Winds are a little quicker from the northeast at 9 miles per hour, and our barometer is at 30.12 inches of mercury. It is falling, but that is a sky-high pressure for us today. Today in Athens, we expected a high of 74. We managed to blow a little bit past that considering the clear, sunny skies we've had. Perfect high pressure system has made things nice for us. And it's going to cool off really quickly tonight. We're expecting a low of 47 degrees and clear skies once again. And it'll be dark out with a new moon. Sunset was at 7:40 p.m. and tomorrow's sunrise is expected at 7:08 a.m. I can tell you this forecaster will not be awake for that one. This weekend, Friday, we're going to have clear skies and a high temperature of 76, moving to Saturday with a high temperature of 77 and a low of 53. And it's possible the weekend could get spoiled a little bit towards the end with a slight chance of thunderstorms by Sunday. But we'll take a look at that later. I'll take it back to you, Silver.
Thank you so much. Not looking forward to that thunderstorm, though. And if you're looking for something fun to do in the nice weather this weekend, check out the Ohio Pawpaw Fest, the 25th year of the festival dedicated to celebrating one of America's largest native tree fruits, the pawpaw. It's an educational event highlighting the fruit's rich history through food and drinks, a lineup of presentations, activities, and competitions. It runs all weekend long on Lake Snowden. You could take a look at your screen for more festival information. Plus, there's a free shuttle picking up at the lower level of Baker Center and Quiddell building on East State. For more information on the Ohio Pawpaw Fest and to buy weekend and day passes, you can visit the website on your screen. History was made today in the U.S. Find out why after the break. Plus, New England prepares our Hurricane Lee brings storms to the region.
And Hurricane Lee isn't the only thing the Northeast needs to be worried about. I'll brief you on the cold front and the storms that could be happening right before Hurricane Lee. My full forecast later on Newswatch.
Week 5 is upon us, and it marks the halfway point of the regular season. Conference schedules are in full swing, and Gridiron Glory has you covered. The TSL has just its second ever game as Warren travels to Beverly to face off with Fort Fry. Waverly picked up their first SOC win in Week 4, and they'll host Portsmouth West, looking to stay unbeaten in conference. And in our game of the week, Waterford travels to Eastern to see who takes early control of the TVC Hawking. Catch it all Friday night at 11:30, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Beneath the streets of London, a massive construction project is underway.
Crossrail?
A huge new railway for London.
How do engineers tackle such an immense challenge?
Everything has to work perfectly.
We're never complacent because that's the day it goes wrong. Wow, wow, wow. That looks fantastic.
London Supertunnel on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Get out!
On Finding Your Roots, Cyndi Lauper discovers a rebel.
I know I'm always fighting the man. Now I know where it comes from.
Jamie Chung's ancestor is honored.
No way. That's my cousin.
Yeah.
And Danny Trejo's relatives journey to America.
I've got history.
And Danny, they were on foot, man.
That's heavy.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow Vintage Spokane Hour 1. We take a look back to revisit some of our favorite treasures from the Pacific Northwest.
There's nothing wrong with this piece at all. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, that's very nice.
Holy Toledo! Woohoo! Find out which values have held strong and which have headed south. Next time on Antiques Roadshow Vintage Spokane Hour 1.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
History made today in the U.S. for the first time, the son of a sitting U.S. president has been indicted by the Justice Department. Hunter Biden is indicted on 3 charges related to a gun he bought in 2018. Emily Schmidt reports how the charges came about after a dramatic turn of events earlier this summer.
The 3-count indictment by the Justice Department boils down to this: what Hunter Biden said when he bought a gun in 2018. According to the indictment, when Hunter Biden went to a Delaware gun shop to buy a revolver, he lied on a federal form by swearing he wasn't using or addicted to any illegal drugs, though he was struggling with an addiction to crack cocaine at the time. Federal law bans lying on an ATF form and possessing a firearm as a drug user. Earlier this summer, it had appeared the gun purchase issue was nearly resolved. Hunter Biden went to federal court planning for a plea deal where he would plead guilty to 2 federal tax misdemeanors, and the gun charge would be dropped in 2 years if Hunter Biden passed regular drug tests and avoided legal trouble. The deal collapsed in court when a judge overseeing the case questioned the deal. After that, Attorney General Merrick Garland elevated the U.S. attorney overseeing the probe, David Weiss, to special counsel status. Early reaction to the indictment is split.
Getting Hunter Biden on the gun charge is like getting Jeffrey Dahmer on littering.
I certainly, if I were making history, would not want to make it with this set of facts and these laws. I think that this case is weak.
A White House spokesperson referred questions to the DOJ and Hunter Biden's representatives. The charges carry a potential sentence of up to 25 years in prison, though alleged first-time offenders and nonviolent crime defendants rarely receive the maximum sentence. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Court filings show there is a summons for Hunter Biden to make an initial appearance on the charges in court. It's still unclear when and where that will take place. Midnight. That's when the United Auto Workers Union says thousands of workers could participate in a series of targeted strikes if they're not able to reach an agreement with the nation's three big automakers. Gloria Pasmino is in Detroit with the latest on the negotiations.
We are preparing to strike these companies in a way they've never seen before.
Ready for the picket line. Thousands of U.S. auto workers could walk off the job Friday at midnight, launching a series of targeted strikes at individual plants run by some of the nation's largest automakers. Known as the Big Three, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis are facing ambitious demands from the United Auto Workers Union. The list includes an immediate 20% raise in hourly pay, followed by 4 additional raises of 5% over 4 years. They also want retiree health care coverage and job protections. One worker says the toll of factory work is something you can't measure in dollars.
We wear our bodies out for these companies, and it's just part of our story, but we deserve to be compensated.
Company execs say they're negotiating in good faith.
We made our first offer almost 2 weeks ago to the UAW. We've made 3 offers since then, and we've had no genuine counteroffer on any of those.
As the deadline quickly approaches, hope for a deal is dwindling.
They spent more money enriching shareholders in a year than they spent on us in the entirety of the last contract cycle. They want to scare the American people into thinking the auto workers are the problem. We're not the problem.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Gloria Pasmino.
Heavy rain, high winds, and coastal flooding are threatening several states along the northern U.S. East Coast. Laura Geary has the latest on how residents are preparing for a stormy few days.
Ben Franklin said, "If you fail to plan, you have planned to fail."
That message reverberating among emergency planners along the northern U.S. East Coast Thursday.
Even if it's not a direct hit, are we going to experience tropical storm force winds?
Hurricane Lee is churning past Bermuda and could weaken as it travels north. Still, forecasters predict it will bring high winds, heavy rain, and coastal flooding as it barrels near or over Maine by Saturday. Storm surge alerts up to 3 feet stretch along much of New England's coast, even higher in places like Cape Cod and Nantucket, Massachusetts. Many residents say they'll ride it out.
You get to the point where you question, like, how much more can it take? But, you know, we've built it back up each time.
In Saco Bay, Maine, an Army Corps of Engineers jetty spur project would help reduce storm impacts and erosion. Congress has approved it, but hasn't authorized federal funds to be spent yet.
Because they haven't done anything, we're defenseless.
Some towns are taking before pictures of their coastal areas.
Being able to document what the property looked like pre-storm versus post-storm is really helpful if you have to kind of put in any type of an insurance claim.
As of Thursday, hurricane-force winds stretched nearly 100 miles from Lee's center. Even at sea, this storm packs a punch. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Laura Aguirre.
We're now joined by forecaster Cam Cusino, who's here to tell us more. Cam, should we expect any stormy conditions, here from Hurricane Lee?
No, thankfully we should be spared from any sort of intense storms or wind from Hurricane Lee. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case across the entire United States, as we'll see impacts in areas that aren't used to hurricane impacts. It's going to be very odd for the New England states. And right now we can see what's going on in the Atlantic Ocean. We have our twin storms. Out there to the east is going to be Hurricane Margot, which isn't expected to have a widespread U.S. impact. And then Hurricane Lee out here by Florida, which has disappeared on me, is expected to make its way north into the United States. So here's Hurricane Lee out on the Atlantic Ocean right by Florida, and it's going to start making its way north up towards the New England states. It's a very unusual storm for New England, as usually water is way too cold for a hurricane to maintain strength all the way up there. But right now the ocean is super hot, and it is going to be able to sustain that hurricane over a long track. As for Athens, though, we have beautiful clear skies all across the Midwestern United States, and that is going to be aided by a high pressure system that is going to stop any sort of upward movement in clouds and is going to make sure that we have another nice day tomorrow. Across the nation, clear skies tonight in a lot of the Midwest because of this high pressure system. Then we see lots of storms around the south. There's a low pressure system and a cold front that has been the cause of that. And then as we move into tomorrow, we're going to get a little bit warmer and see a lot of clear skies here across the Midwest. And we'll have a little bit of rain as the hurricane begins to move up into the New England states. Very odd. Tonight we're expecting a low of 47 degrees. It's going to cool off quick on us. It's in the 70s right now with a new moon and clear skies. Tomorrow we're expecting a high of 76 and sunny skies because of this low pressure system. Temperatures change really rapidly when we have a high pressure system. You can see that on the temperature gradient map here. These are the morning hours and we're down even into the 40s. And as daytime starts to happen, you'll see how quickly we warm up into the 70s. That is a very common thing in a high pressure system like we have right now, and that's affecting most of us. Then we have this cold front across the central United States that's going to continue pushing its way into tomorrow night towards our region. We'll have high pressure, and then by Saturday, that cold front is going to weaken a little bit, and we'll have the high pressure dominant, and then we will see a little bit of the effects of that later. As the high pressure system's going on Friday, we'll have a high temperature of 76 degrees and a low of 45. Saturday, we'll start to see a few clouds as it begins to approach us. We'll still have a high of 77 and a low of 53. And then Sunday, that system will start to weaken, but we'll have a 20% chance at some thunderstorms to potentially spoil any fun plans you may have for Sunday. High of 75 and a low of 51. Then following Sunday, we're going to start a warming trend. We're going to have another high pressure system, and it's going to bring us back into the summer-like temperatures that we've just gotten a break from, just starting to feel like fall, and unfortunately, it's not going to get to feel like that forever. 75 degrees on Monday, and then we're going to be up to 78 Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, we'll have a few clouds gather, be up to 81. And then Thursday, that's right, a high temperature of 85 degrees. I know I'm personally tired of hot temperatures, but what are you going to do about it? We're going to see that warming trend, and then hopefully following Thursday, we should see a cool down into next weekend. But that's my entire look at our full forecast. We'll take it back to you, Silver.
Thanks, Cam. No matter what type of natural disaster or emergency Americans face, it's critical to be prepared beforehand, especially for older adults. In honor of National Preparedness Month, Mandy Gaither has simple steps to help seniors prepare for an emergency.
From wildfires to hurricanes, natural disasters and other emergencies are never easy.
I'll have to expect the unexpected, follow the old Boy Scout motto, be prepared.
A recent study finds that while most nursing homes met federal emergency preparedness requirements, about 77% reported challenges with preparing to meet the care needs of residents during an emergency, many citing concerns about proper staffing during disasters and transporting residents during evacuations. No matter where a senior lives, it's especially critical for them to have a preparedness plan, says Dr. Lauren Sutherland with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center.
Well, older adults have a higher likelihood of having long-term, what we call chronic medical conditions that may need to take daily medications for.
Sutherland says to have at least a 2-week supply of needed medications on hand. For medicine that needs to be kept cool, plan for a cooler or ice packs.
You also want to have a good paper copy that's up to date of all your medications.
That can all go into an emergency preparedness kit, along with things like water, food, a battery-powered radio allowing for emergency alerts and warnings, extra batteries, a first aid kit, and a whistle to signal for help. Experts say to also know where to shelter if need be, which route to take in the event of an evacuation, and who would drive. Sutherland says if authorities ask you to leave, it's a good idea to do so. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Experts say it's also important to make a travel plan for your pet. If you think you may need a shelter in an emergency, research pet-friendly evacuation centers beforehand.
Coming up on Newswatch, we have a loaded slate of high school volleyball in the 740. This story and more when Newswatch returns. And for the latest Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Week 5 is upon us, and it marks the halfway point of the regular season. Conference schedules are in full swing, and Gridiron Glory has you covered. The TSL has just its second ever game as Warren travels to Beverly to face off with Fort Fry. Waverly picked up their first SOC win in Week 4, and they'll host Portsmouth West, looking to stay unbeaten in conference. And in our game of the week, Waterford travels to Eastern to see who takes early control of the TVC Hawking. Catch it all Friday night at 11:30. Because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
She was a rule breaker.
She made no concessions about her art.
Revolutionary.
She teaches us about identity.
And one of the most famous artists in the world. We can't take our eyes off her. Who really was Frida Kahlo?
Here I am. But you don't have a clue what's going on inside me.
Go beyond the canvas to discover the life and art of an imperfect genius.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
You need to face your fears.
Who displays the personality type to kill with calculation?
Anything you'd like to share, Professor?
If there's an exit wound, there's going to be a bullet. I'd say it's game.
Game on indeed. We could get into very deep water on this.
If you need us, we're not going anywhere.
Evolution Earth, heat. As temperatures rise, animals are responding. Doing things never filmed before. Out there, things aren't what you expect. You'll see.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Dylan Westmeyer. Athens Volleyball takes on Vinton County in a TVC Ohio matchup tonight. The Bulldogs are hoping to bounce back from a tough 5-set loss to Alexander on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Vikings are hoping to take their 3-game win streak in and make it 4. Both squads are currently sitting in a 3-way tie for second at 3-1 in the TVC. Traveling over to the TVC Hawking, the Federal Hawking Lancers play host to the Trimble Tomcats. The Lancers are hoping to right the ship as they have dropped 8 of their last 10 matchups, with their last win coming against Belpre on August 24th. On the other hand, the Tomcats are carrying a 4-game win streak with their latest victory over the Eastern Eagles. Check out Ace Nation WUB on Twitter as well as WUB website for written content and updates. Stepping up to the collegiate level, the Bobcats travel to Iowa State for the Cyclone Invitational. The Bobcats are on the floor right now against Drake, and they're tied 1-set-all, with the Bobcats winning the first set 31-29. Moving on to Saturday, the Bobcats take on the Cyclones, who are sitting at 23 in the AVCA polls. And they finish off the weekend against UC Santa Barbara. Head coach Jeff Carlston believes his team is right on the cusp of playing with the big dogs, but is more focused on preparing for league play.
Yeah, I mean, we've beaten a top 25 team. We've gone 5 with 2 top 25 teams. So we're there. I mean, we're in the mix, and we need to just keep getting better. You know, just we keep putting a little bit more, a couple of nuggets in our backpack, and keep improving. Some 3 super physical teams, but again, for us, it's all preparation to take care of things in the conference.
And from one Cyclone to the next, Ohio football hosts Iowa State in Pedient Stadium this weekend. The Bobcats will take on their only Power 5 opponent this season. These teams faced off last year, with the Cyclones taking care of business with a score of 43-10. The Bobcats' defense is hoping to continue their stretch of good form as they held FAU to only 3 points on offense and 5 total rushing yards. Head coach Tim Albin spoke on being prepared for a Matt Campbell-led team.
I know Coach Campbell. His team is tough, very disciplined, next man up mentality. I coached against him. I've seen his teams play when he was at Toledo as a coordinator and a head coach. His track record is very impressive. So I know they're going to come ready to play whomever is out there for them, and they'll be well coached, and it should be a hard-fought game.
Kickoff is currently set for noon on Saturday. And moving over to Pruitt Field, the field hockey team is starting MAC play against Ball State. The Bobcats are coming off an OT win against Indiana, and OU is hoping to take revenge against Ball State as they fell 1-2 in overtime in their matchup last year. This is expected to be a close contest, with the Cardinals picked to finish 4th in the MAC and the Bobcats right behind them at 5th. From the turf to the ice, the ACHA rankings came out today. And with no surprise, the top of the rankings sits with Why Not State at the top, followed by Adrian, OU, and Liberty at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, respectively. The Bobcats are hoping to have another strong season as they fell in the Final Four of the ACHA National Championships to Adrian College last year. I'm Dylan Westmeyer, and that's all for sports. Back to you, Silver.
Bye Bye Bye, it turns out, was a lie. We have more on a popular boy band's return to music. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
After 20 years of living in the U.S., an undocumented family decides to return home. Between the rodeo arenas of North Carolina and their beloved Charan, Mexico, a story about reverse migration and redemption. Bulls and Saints on POV.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Week 5 is upon us, and it marks the halfway point of the regular season. Conference schedules are in full swing, and Gridiron Glory has you covered. The TSL has just its second ever game as Warren travels to Beverly to face off with Fort Fry. Waverly picked up their first SOC win in Week 4, and they'll host Portsmouth West, looking to stay unbeaten in conference. And in our game of the week, Waterford travels to Eastern to see who takes early control of the TVC Hawking. Catch it all Friday night at 11:30, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Querido Sansón, me pregunto si quieres embarcarte en una aventura conmigo y que intentemos hacer una película sobre tu vida.
Si usted cree que mi vida es interesante, ¿por qué no se da una vuelta por mis tierras?
Tu familia, ellos serían los actores en tu historia.
O sea, porque todo eso que pasó él, yo no lo supe hasta que...
Vida sin salida a los 19 años.
Sansón and Me, September 19th on PBS and the PBS app.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow Vintage Spokane, Hour 1. We take a look back to revisit some of our favorite treasures from the Pacific Northwest.
There's nothing wrong with this piece at all. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, that's very nice.
Holy Toledo! Woohoo! Find out which values have held strong and which have headed south. Next time on Antiques Roadshow Vintage Spokane, Hour 1.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Tonight in Athens, we are expecting an overnight low of 47 degrees and a new moon with clear skies. We've had that high pressure system. Sunset tonight will be at 7:40 a.m. and sunrise will be bright and early at 7:08 a.m. tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow we're expecting a high of 76 degrees and not a cloud in the sky yet again. It should be another beautiful day on deck for us here in Athens, and then a low temperature of 45 tomorrow night. Yet again, it will cool off very, very quickly. That'll be because of this high pressure system. And then we have a low pressure system and an associated cold front that's going to come spoil the fun for us here on our 7-day outlook. Those showers are expected to arrive Sunday, and then it will warm up beginning past that. And that was our final look at the weather. My name is Cam Kuz now. I'll take it back to you, Silver.
Thanks, Cam. Finally tonight, the popular early 2000s boy band NSYNC is making a comeback. The now middle-aged man band is getting back together after releasing a 40-second tease of their brand new song, Better Place. It's been 21 years since the Orlando band has done a song together. The announcement comes 2 days after NSYNC made a surprise appearance together at the MTV Video Music Awards. Now, guys, just telling you now, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, 2002, I was born then, so it's a bit crazy. So how about you guys? Are you excited about the song though coming out?
I'm definitely excited about this song. I may have been born just before the last time they released the song, but I am still a huge fan, and I just can't tell you how much I love it.
And I mean, boy bands, man, they're always great. It's just 20 years.
We'll have to see if they still have it.
Yeah, they didn't say bye, bye, bye just yet. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Silver Barker. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.